All right, I'm out here June 22nd or something like that. And a little bored. I decided not to stream today because it's a nice day and I wanted to get out in the garden. And I thought maybe I'd just do a little video sort of showing off the garden and the little orchard. Just, I guess, partially to keep video record to see how things change. So this is the orchard here. Well, that's the first row. And then we have some back there. And then here in about a month or so, I'll get some more that will come here, come right up through here. And then also we'll do a few more right there. So by the end of this summer, all said and told, I think I'll be up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 11 trees. And then next year I have plans to add in some more along that fence line over there. And then that's really will be about like all the space I have for fruit trees. But I have gone ahead and decided eventually all of this will be basically like, basically just like around that rim and like there, because the big tree above shades out almost all of that. But you know, we get a little bit of sun right through this area constantly, pretty good. Hold on, this glove is annoying me holding it in my hand like this. So it will go around there. So really my hope is, you know, in the next couple of years or so, just transform all this into basically what they call a food forest. So we'll have the trees. And along this fence, you know, I got about 65 feet from where I'm standing to basically down to that and where that overgrowth area starts to go. So I'm going to put in, I've ordered some raspberries to start off here. And then I've got some blueberries already. I've got some more on the way and they'll come in like the next step. And then, you know, we'll do like blackberries or something. And my hope is just to turn this entire fence line basically into like a big berry hedge. And then, you know, maybe through here, through this middle area, do strawberries or something, or some other plant, some other sort of perennial, or maybe put smaller beds here, you know, I don't know. But yeah, going back to the trees, all of these, well, most of these were put in last, it was like last April. So they're over a year old, planted. I think probably total is, they're probably maybe I'd say 2 years old, 3 years old, all set in from seed. But I've got this whole row are apples, and this one here is it's actually like my best one. It had some blossoms at the beginning of, oh, I'm over here. Had some blossoms at the beginning of the season that were, you know, reassuring. I've got some of these like spacers that kind of help force some of the branches to be a bit more lateral. But this one I think is, it's, what kind is it? It is Mayo. No, it's called a Franklin cider, semi-dwarf. So semi-dwarf means that this thing will get to about 10 feet tall and stop. Right now, I'm 6'3", and it's now this part here is taller than me by a few inches. So it's probably about 6.5 feet tall now. In the winter, I'll come down and, you know, prune it back, kind of as you're supposed to. So it's probably got like another year or two of like, you know, top growth, and then basically we'll just chop it off and let it expand out. But no, that one's real pretty. I'm real pleased with that one. The main plan for that one is kind of, as the label said, it's for like ciders, apple ciders and things like that. But you can probably mix all these for applesauce. This one, you gotta come out every now and then because you have these leaves that get a little damaged. It's nothing too crazy. It happened last year as well. This one I think is a Honey Crisp, or no, I think this is a Granny Smith. So Granny Smith is ironically the only apple I really like to eat raw. I love things like applesauce and apple pies and stuff like that, but Granny Smith apples are the only ones I like to eat raw. I'll have to get some more spacers because as you can see here, what happens is apples tend to want to have these, the limbs, if you let them just go, they want to grow straight up because they want to basically become what's called the main leader. So I have like a smaller spacer down there. It's kind of hard to see. But you have to kind of force them down as I'm doing with these ones. I just didn't realize how much these things cost and how many I would need. So I just have to get some more. I'll show you the only blueberries. Blueberries get eaten by the birds real quick, so I've never been able to properly appreciate them. But I've got a small little bundle under there that I'm hoping are hidden away and get to ripen. Blueberries are another one where I got these last year, and I think there's like a weird saying that says like year 1 they sleep, year 2 they creep, year 3 they leap. So they're definitely getting bigger. I don't know if it's able to be seen on the camera, but you see how these leaves are a little bit lighter than like these ones. That's why I love this time of year. Is I always like to come out and just look. This is like the new growth, so that's indication that stuff is growing. You can see the same thing on the apple trees too, because this is a lighter green than like the rest, or this branch, the branch part here is a lighter color. So it's really cool because you can come out and just kind of see stuff literally changing like every day. This I think is the, what is this thing? Oh, this is the Red Delicious. So it's kind of my smallest tree. I think that's because it just gets hit with a bit too much shade where my neighbor's tree is, plus that thing, plus this. It does get a decent amount of sun, but not nearly as much as like the rest. But it could just be slower. It's still healthy. It's still doing good. It just kind of sucks because Red Delicious are like my daughter's favorites. So we would love for that one to get nice and big, but we'll see. This one is, I think, a honey, what is it? Honey crisp. So it's a honey crisp, but it's all top heavy, right? So it's got this big branch system over here and like nothing over here. I should have corrected this over the winter. I should have cut that branch and sort of balanced it out, because it was like this actually last year when I got it. There wasn't anything over here, and I actually had a post that sort of just helped it from not falling over. And I took that down, and like a week ago we had kind of a bad storm roll through, and this thing was almost sideways. So it was almost like on the ground. It was getting whipped out so quickly, so that's why I've got this weird sort of triangle contraption. We'll see. Like I said, in the winter when I prune, I'll finally do what I was supposed to do and just cut that back and sort of just let it, grow out a little bit better. Because apple trees and pear trees, if I'm not mistaken, you want to basically have, it's called like a single leader, a main leader. So you have like a main trunk. So you see how that one there has like, the taller central leader. That goes up, and then you kind of just prune off of that. Whereas if I turn around, this is my peach tree. This is the peach tree that at the beginning of the spring showed quite a bit of damage down here at the base, and sadly it was just too pretty. It was showing really good signs of health and growth, so I was too afraid to cut it down, even though I probably should. Right now I'm just kind of like gonna let it go and see if it recovers. But this thing is, that's probably 8 feet tall. This thing's doing really well aside from that. So I'm hoping it kind of recovers from that. It can push on. But with peach trees, I would actually end up taking out almost all of this in the middle, because peach trees you want to prune to what's called an open center. So essentially it looks kind of like a wine glass where you'll have everything sprawling out, but you'll have the center part will be open. And that just allows for wind flow and sunlight to get in there, do the peaches good. But with this one, this winter, I'll basically come in and chop these off, keep the middle part short, and then let these outer ones go. But we have another peach tree. This was the newest one. This one came this year. When I had contacted Stark Brothers, the company where I got that from, told them what happened. They sent this replacement, because it was technically within a year. So that was nice. It's smaller and kind of lose progress in time, but it's in the ground. Now it's just a bit of a waiting game. And then we'll have 2 more right up there. Ignore the wood. That's from the wood chips that I got in a broken tree limb last year. I had a big branch breakdown. And these are pears. I think it's just standard sort of Anjou, pear, and Bartlett, I believe. I wouldn't mind getting another one just for like this area here. But the pears do tend to be a little bit bigger, so they'll be maybe full size, so standard size. I actually misspoke. If that's a semi-dwarf, that means it's going to possibly get up to about 12 to 15 feet tall. That is a standard, so that will get to about 20 feet tall, which will put it in competition with that for sure. But the way the sun comes in, usually it comes in from about that gap. And then once it hits here, because this is my east, that's my west. So once it hits this point, this whole area gets a lot of afternoon sun. So it's not too bad. Here's my compost pile that I've been working on for about 1.5 years. I actually finally decided I had it fully enclosed, but like a week ago, I cut off the front part. This is just chicken wire around some posts, and I took off the front part so I can actually get in here and turn it over. I'm actually pretty pleased with this is the compost that's deeper down. All that's ever been put in here is basically dead leaves from the fall, because that big old tree above me produces a lot of leaves. And I've been throwing like kitchen scraps in here. No grass clippings, because I don't mow my own grass right now. So this is all, that probably would have helped it go faster. So it's definitely, I would say it's not a hot compost by any stretch of the imagination, but it's finally getting to a point where next year I'll be able to use it. I'll probably put it in the beds before winter time if I don't do a cover crop and let it sit over winter. So that's good. Okay, so this is the main garden part. These are the infamous grow bags that are just perplexing me. So these grow bags, I got these this year to put extra soil that I had bought in. I thought it was supposed to be pretty good quality composted soil, but as you can see, that's not the case, because I'll show you here in a second a good comparison. But everything in here, I think over the last week I've realized it's technically growing, these tomato plants, but at a very, very, very slow pace. So at this point, it's an experiment. I basically just want to see, will it have enough time to get big? And it's really hard to justify anything because the leaves are still quite green. They look healthy aside from being really stunted. And this is the bean that I planted next to it. I did this bean the same time as I did some other beans that I'll show you, because I thought maybe that would be a great companion. Not really a good idea to put pole beans with tomatoes, I realized after the fact, but at this point I'm just kind of saying screw it, we'll let nature duke it out. This is another instance. So these are all definitely taller, but just not that tall. This one's got basil mixed up in it. That basil is a runt compared to the other basil. All this was done at the same time as the main beds. Like I said, really now I'm just kind of treating it like an experiment to sort of prove that the quality of the soil that I bought was not very good. It should have just been labeled as like filler soil or some crap. But neither here nor there. Learn from my mistakes and move on. I won't have to get more soil next year. I'll just amend it with good stuff, with the compost from there, or I have something up on the porch that I can use, or just get some stuff to amend it. It is what it is. Next year though, it'll be great. They'll have 15 positions more for more stuff. This is my zucchini and squash bed, and interspersed, these little things are nasturtiums. They've got these really pretty flowers that have started to bloom. You can see that one's like a reddish color, this one's orange. I planted these this year because I read last year that they help to detract from like squash beetles and different insects and bad things that could get to the squash and zucchini. So it does seem to be working pretty good. These are, so this side is zucchini, and the other side's yellow squash. So they're doing really well. I probably planted everything a little bit too close. This is pretty crowded because then I also threw in some beans that go up this little monstrosity. You can kind of get in there and see how tall the vine is getting, the stalk, whatever you want to call it. But I've had no flowers yet. There looks to be quite a few that want to start. So that has me a little concerned. But other than that, really pleased. My hope this year is to actually keep track of, it's so hard to see because the flowers or the leaves get so big. Theoretically, if I can keep track of the main stem, then I plan to sort of tie it up along this and try to grow it vertically this year. I've tried last year and it didn't work very well because I didn't fully understand. I thought when people say grow it vertically, I thought it was kind of similar to the way like the cucumbers over there grow, or beans. That's not the case. So you can't grow them vertically. You just have to do a little bit of work with them. I've got some more. So I'm trying to do also this year, instead of everything at once, because my family likes zucchini and squash, but we can't eat all of that at once. So I tend to kind of get overwhelmed. So we have, I'm trying to do, what's the term for it? Succession planning. So I've got more there. Something has been eating the garden pretty bad. That's why I just literally put that up an hour ago. The gate around it. I have a lot of squirrels and a lot of chipmunks, as you can see. Definitely suburbia. So we got these chain link fences that basically act like highways for critters that jump right in here. So they ate the seeds that I started like 2 weeks ago from in there, 3 weeks ago. So I just started another one. Then I have another spot there that I will do in about 2-3 weeks. So hopefully that will give me plenty of harvest throughout the year until the end. And then in the fall or late summer, I'll probably convert this bed over for some sort of like last minute crop, like a spinach or cabbage. My family likes kimchi, so we could do Napa cabbage. I use just more of the tomatoes. I'll go along the outside and show the best example. So right here, this is a cantaloupe that I started from seed inside my house. Sometime in March. I knew that cantaloupe and watermelon have a long time. It's a smaller cantaloupe. Cantaloupes are kind of small anyways. So we can see, it's growing okay. It's actually grown, I'd say, double the length. It's doubled its length in just this week because we've had good weather. I've been out here hitting it with fertilizer and water, really paying attention. So I'm pleased. There was a flower. Looks like it maybe didn't get pollinated, but that's fine. It's growing. But that was planted and transplanted at the same time as that. These are the exact same cantaloupes that were planted from seed at the exact same time. And you can just see the massive difference. This one, I don't know what's going on with this. It's just trying to be a superstar. I'm actually cutting back vines just to make space. I got the trellis to grow up vertically, but even at the bottom, you know, a lot tends to just kind of just come out. And this is another one. And all this is because this is a smaller bed. This is just a 4x4. I can sit here and I've been able to just load it with the like bagged Miracle-Gro soil, you know, with your vermiculite or perlite, whatever that is, and better content. It's lighter, so definitely it's kind of fun in a way to see the difference. You can see the same thing here. That is a watermelon, a baby sugar watermelon, something like that. And those are its cousins, its brothers that were planted at the same time. We're actually happy to announce that we've got our first little baby watermelon here, which I'm super excited about. I love watermelon. I love fruit in general. So this is the stuff that I love. Like watermelon. This one has a little one. That's okay. These ones, I did these last year and they did great with both the cantaloupe and the watermelon. I might get two or three fruit off of each one. I don't tend to get greedy. Actually, it looks like there's another one right up there that might have gotten pollinated. It's hard to say. I've been having issues, I think, with pollinators this year, as you know, have many gardeners in the Midwest. That's where I'm at. Next year, I'm definitely going to try to do a much better job of implementing pollinating flowers, wildflowers. That I forgot to mention, but that overgrowth area back there, I'm actually contemplating having someone come out and cut it down, and that will give me, I don't know, like lengthwise it'll give me about 30-40 feet, and I'll have maybe about like 6-7 feet out, 10 feet out, and I might try to do like a wildflower sort of prairie back there with just all sorts of pollinating flowers all sorts of flowers for the pollinators, because it's definitely been a struggle. Over here I had some leftover soil still along this fence line, so I just did this little contraption and tossed in some extra cucumbers that I had and some extra beans just to fill in space. These are Adam Gherkin pickling cucumbers. I've actually had a few off of there. I've just eaten them raw because they're still good. The timing has been a little weird. I didn't want them to get too big and possibly mature and kill the whole vine. Over here we've got a little cucumber. Sadly, my labels have been kind of strewn about and they're worn off. So I'm not entirely sure what that one is. I think it might be just a normal slicing cucumber. This one is a lemon cucumber, a lemon cuke. And then I got some beans interspersed in here. This year, one of my big experiments was trying to do what's called the Three Sisters method of gardening. So planting corn, squash, and beans together. But instead of corn, I decided to do sunflowers. But I am an idiot and I don't read packages very well. So I bought different varieties of sunflowers. As you can see, those two are taller than that one. I did not realize that sunflowers come in like dwarf versions and stuff. It looks amazing. It looks really, really cool. Like when it gets its head, it has like a really dark red, and that's why I got it. I was like, dude, that will look great. Not realizing that it's probably, as you can see here, gonna get kind of shaded out by stuff. But I mean, you live and learn. It's still pretty cool. We've got some beans planted around with them, and then some squash that are supposed to act as sort of like they're meant to kind of keep the soil from drying out and protect the undergrowth. But because some things didn't take really well and I had spacing issues, this is just really purely an experiment to see if it even works. I didn't realize that I guess sunflowers also release something that sometimes can stunt growth of other plants near it. So is what it is. Either way, I'm really enjoying the sunflowers. I think they're really cool. So as you can see, the heads are pointing that way because that's ways west. In the morning time, they point that way. So that's just kind of really neat. These are starting to get the heads of the flowers, these bigger ones. As you can see there, that one is actually really big, really stunted, but it's coming up with its silly little flower. So we'll see how that works out. That's a pretty good indication. I'm hoping that is kind of how things work in normal. So you got 2 beans on each side and a squash plant. Most of these are butternut squash or spaghetti squash. I tried to mix it up. Like I said, weird gaps because it said try to keep 2 feet in between, and some just didn't take or some got eaten. This side is just sad and depressing. So I had 2 beautiful sunflowers right here where the posts are, and because of this chain link fence, squirrels, I don't know if they were practicing for the Olympics, but if I had to guess, they basically would jump off the fence and then jump off the sunflowers. They'll probably get over to my cucumbers. So this one was broke, I'd say about 2 weeks ago, and this one happened just the other day. I came out and it was completely on its side. You can kind of see I left the stalk in as a sort of sad thing. And that one's really sad because it's got a lot of growth on both sides. Both sides did really well with the squash taking off and the beans. So that's why I put these poles in to just give the beans some sort of hope. I think those beans are mostly like some form of Kentucky greasy bean that my friend of the family gave me. So this is all cucumbers. Cucumbers. I love cucumbers for salads and snacking. It's one of my favorite things in the summertime. But I also love pickles, so I'm hoping this year to actually learn how to pickle really well. I've been spending the last month or two trying to find the right recipe that I enjoy. Because this whole row in the front here is pickling cucumbers. I don't think we have any right now because sadly the squirrels or the chipmunks or whatever ate the only one that I had that was like really big that I was getting ready to harvest. These are more Adam gherkins. So they're bigger. Adam gherkins are like, that big. I think they're kind of also what are called like Kirby pickles. Definitely much bigger than, I think down there, those are like Chicago pickling. Chicago pickling, your standard pickling cucumbers. And the other side, this big monstrosity are more lemon cucumbers. I just thought that'd be a fun variety to try, something new, something different. And right now I've got an absolute crap ton of flowers, but as one of my buddies had a problem down in Texas, they're almost all male flowers. So I did buy some. I tried to hand pollinate the other day, but I'm not very good at it. So I got some paint brushes. Saw a video on YouTube where someone said you can also do that. And you can tell the difference. It might be kind of hard to illustrate. So you see how this one, it's just got a long stem and the flower, and there's nothing at the base. So that's a male. If I've educated myself well enough over the last year or two. That is a male flower. And that's pretty much mostly what I have. Let me see if I can even find a female flower. And if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. That's fine. But I was led to understand that female flowers, like the melons, because they all are part of the cucurbit family, they will have some sort of bulbous sort of growth at the base, which is what the fruit would be. Maybe it's kind of hard to see, but it looks like that one might have like the growth potential at the base. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. If these are all indeed males. I mean, it has been hot. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, so
This is what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I was pointing at the wrong part. This right here. So hopefully this pollinated. So this is, or was, a female flower. I think I don't see any others. So that must be the difference. Like I said, I'm still learning and I apologize. I was thinking more of the cantaloupe and watermelon. That's a lot more obvious. But that does not look like that. So best I can tell is almost all these are males. So I've been out here trying to kind of pay attention to what is what, and I'll try to pollinate best I can. These are, yeah, because that's a perfect example. I mean, it doesn't get more clearer of a female right there. And this is the slicing variety. I think your standard market more 76s. So that's probably why it's a little bit bigger of a female fruit. And yeah, so this is all the same one. And come on now. So might be kind of hard to tell, but you can see that doesn't have fruit at the bottom. And here's another good example right there of a female. So that's what I'm looking for. So hopefully those pollinate and do well, because my goal is trying to get healthy, trying to lose weight and all that fun stuff. And cucumbers play a big part of that in the fall. Excuse the mess. The wood chips were literally last minute drop off. I'd signed up for one of those like free wood chip services, and I had like a 20-minute notice before they were on my front driveway. So I had to struggle and hurry. That's why I actually am spending most of my time this summer fighting with weeds that I come up through. But oh well. So these are our tomatoes. This year I'm trying something different. Instead of like a Florida weave or steaks, I saw a video, and I really wish I could remember the YouTuber's Satin Hill. I think, Josh Satin, I believe, from North Carolina. Saw a video where he had shown how he had done his trellises, and I thought I would give that a try because it looked super easy. I mean, this is ugly compared to how he had it. But it was, you just get some T-posts, PVC, and string. And I have clips that I was going to, clip to the tomato plants. But right now I'm actually just trying to sort of stay with it. And as you can see, I'm just sort of wrapping the tomato up the thing. My parents, I did a similar setup for them, and they are using the clip. So I'll be curious to see if there's any difference. But these are all, this front row are like your normal tomatoes. I don't know what to call them. Your big boys. Oh no. I was out here earlier. I actually am trying to intersperse companion planting to protect these. So I got some oregano, cilantro, and some basil back there. I'll show you. But yeah, that cilantro is getting pretty big. I thought I had harvested quite a bit this morning. So yeah, these are a mixture of black Krim tomatoes and giant pink Belgiums, I think is the name. Giant pink Belgiums. They're doing pretty good. I started these all from seed. I mean, most everything here I started from seed, either inside or sown outdoors after the fact. The only ones that are store-bought of the peppers, or of the tomatoes, is these two. The other Amish paste, because I wanted to actually try growing those. I'm still learning a lot about tomatoes. My family's not a big tomato family, so I didn't understand. I thought basically the varieties were big and cherry. I didn't understand that there was a wide variety in between. But they've got flowers going. I'm happy with that. These are just, I think, like standard, maybe yellow cherry tomatoes or something. And inside here, like going with the companion planting theme and trying to learn new things, basil basil. I don't know why I plant this stuff because my family doesn't use basil. But a lot of my goal sometimes is plant stuff, grow it, and then figure out uses for it later. That's with the zucchini. I did that like a few years ago, and we had never had it before. Then afterwards, we realized we really enjoyed it. So, I definitely recommend trying different things. These 2 beds are strawberries. Very overgrown, very dense strawberries. Harvest season is done for these. I got maybe 4 pounds of strawberries out of both beds. Not good, but I think, again, lesson learned. Part of it's probably lack of pollinators. I've hardly seen any bees out here this year. And then also just being so dense, what flowers there were, because there were a lot of flowers for sure. But I think the canopy is so dense that they just couldn't get down in there. Because I planted these 2 beds last year, and I started off with 20 in each. So I did a standard, 10 per row, 10 per row, and then basically the runners just kind of they beat me. They won the war last year, and it filled in a large chunk of everything. And I think that was the mistake. Is what fruit I did get was small, and that's if I can even get to it, because a lot of times, recurring theme this year, I would come out and there'd be strawberry that was basically completely eaten by something. And now I get to fight with runners. I'm actually going to come out here tomorrow, and I learned that since these are all June bearing, so that means that they come down at once, or they give your harvest all at once in late May, early June, which is all past now. Since it's the harvest time is over, I guess you're supposed to what's called renovate your strawberries. And if I had a patch like over there in the food forest or something, people just say take a lawnmower, put on a high setting, and kind of cut over everything. Essentially, what I'll have to do, I don't have that, but I do have like a weed whacker sort of deal. I have a hedge trimmer. So I'll come out tomorrow, kind of give it a little haircut and a snip, and then thin it out to probably, I'm thinking, a foot in between each like crown, each fruit, each plant, and hopefully that would do better next year. And then next year, because that will be its 3rd year, I'll start actually transplanting runners. Right now I'm just still plucking them and mostly I'm plucking them and composting them. Next year I'll start transplanting, just because I don't have a lot of space free to rotate into. And if they don't do really well next year, I'll probably just bump it down just to 1 bed and just kind of maybe go back and forth, throw in potatoes or something else in one of these. Lastly, we've got beans. We've got bush beans, pole beans. This is also a fun experiment. These little things have the same sort of soil that are in the grow bags, and they were planted at the same time as those. So again, big difference. Definitely pays not to, I guess, be too cheap on all of your soil. I do have some other stuff. I have some mint growing in here, and as people promised, mint is voracious and is really taken off. This is actually the same, this is older bag soil that I had from last year from these pots. And this is 2 different types of mint. I can't remember which one. This one was a smaller thing, and I had basically a flood in my garden, and they almost didn't survive. But I'm pretty happy with this. I like mint. I don't use it in a lot of things, as you're probably starting to kind of realize is common with this theme, but especially with like the cucumbers or the watermelon, when they come into the harvest, it'd be great to have some fresh fresca, agua fresca or something, or even just put this in some water, or who knows, man. I mean, it's the fun of this. You grow it, and then you have fun figuring out what to do with it, and it's there. It makes you expand on stuff. So these are my peppers. The reason why I had to put the fence up is because this poor guy, this little Fresno, was completely ripped out of its hole, out of the soil. I came out yesterday, and it was just completely laid over. Roots were bare and everything. Something I dug in pretty deep, and it might be kind of hard to tell on camera, but you can see almost every pepper plant has some form of digging at the base going on. So I put this up as a precaution. I'm really hopeful for my peppers this year. I didn't get very many last year, and I've got, these are all hot peppers of some degrees. I don't really do hot peppers, but the thought process was if I have a lot of hot peppers, then I can make hot sauce, which I don't really do, but my dad loves hot sauce, and part of this was, something that I could do nice for him and fun with him. So he's got similar setup at his house that I built for them this year, with a lot of peppers and a lot of tomatoes. But things are coming along pretty well, actually. Try to dip in here without breaking anything, but we have some peppers starting. Sadly, I'm in the part of the country where we had a hard freeze on basically like May 15th. One of the latest freezes we've ever had, let alone a long time. So I actually had self-planted a whole bed of peppers and lost everything. I actually lost a good chunk of, I lost all my tomatoes and all my peppers, but I had backups of the tomatoes just in case, but I didn't have backups of these. So a lot of these are actually, a lot of those are store-bought from, I have a local nursery, and just stuff that I might see at Lowe's. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that one. But yeah, sorry for that from seed. I think it's like a lunchbox pepper. Maybe it's just short. I don't know. I've never done that one. But these are all bell peppers. Other miscellaneous thoughts and ramblings. Some dill. And that is it, really. I enjoy coming out here. I come out here every day, a couple times a day. I work from home, so it gives me the opportunity to sort of just come out and play the gardener, and I enjoy it. And this time of year, I have to do better at keeping up with things. Last year, I built all these beds last year at once. I just basically decided I'm gonna jump all in with gardening, and did all this stuff pretty much last year, minus what was along the fence. The fence is new expansion. So last year I got very overwhelmed, but when things really started kicking in. So this year, that's why I try to do the session. That's why I try to get out here first thing in the morning. If it's not too hot and humid or I don't have meetings, I'll come out a few times. It just gives me something to do. With all this craziness, it's good to have something kind of outside to come out, clear your head, enjoy nature, and just sort of think. It's wonderful. But yeah, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. I'll probably post an update, in a couple of weeks. By the end of July. Be really curious to see. Hopefully come back and all these I've decided to take off, and I have just a wall of green. That'd be great, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. Bye.